everyone, welcome back, or if this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Risa. My channel is Risa Does Makeup, and normally my content revolves around reviewing the latest product release or showing a makeup tip or trick that I've learned over the years as a makeup artist. I talk about fashion, and about once a year, I talk about my diet and what I do to maintain my weight over 40, or what I've done to lose weight in the past. I talk about what I eat during the day. I get a lot of questions about my diet and what I do to stay in shape, mostly on Instagram, because that's where I typically show my fashion posts and you can actually see my body and not just from my neck sometimes up or chest up. So I get a lot of questions on Instagram. People will ask me, Risa, how do you stay thin in your 40s? And what do you do to work out? And what do you eat? And I've done several videos on my channel about intermittent fasting, which is the main way that I keep my weight in check. And I know a lot of people have discovered intermittent fasting over the last couple of years. It's really gained even more popularity than it had when I first started 3 years ago. I realized the other day that it has been 3 years now that I started on this intermittent fasting lifestyle change. And that's something I always want to be clear about in every video. Well, I want to be clear about a few things. One, I am not a dietitian. I do not proclaim to know much about nutrition, diets, anything. I am just a regular woman in her 40s, like many of you, turns to Google and YouTube and books to find information about what we can try to either lose weight or maintain our weight as we get older. Because as I think most would agree, it does become more difficult to either lose weight or keep weight off in your 40s. And when I started intermittent fasting 3 years ago, I was 44 years old. I forget how old I am. And up until that point, and I'm sorry if you've seen my other videos, you already know this story, but I feel it's important to say it again. Up until that point, I really had never struggled with my weight. When I was a teenager, I was 5'7" and I weighed about 112 pounds. When I got married at age 27, I weighed 122 pounds. After I had my second child, the weight came off pretty easily, and I was down to about 128 pounds. And that was when I was 33, 32. I was happy at my 128. But slowly, the weight kind of crept up, and life happens. I changed the direction of my career. I opened up a makeup boutique with my sister in Minnesota in 2007, and I had young children at the time as well. So as you know, a lot of factors go into your eating habits. So long story short, for a variety of reasons, my weight was creeping up. It crept up into my 130s. And of course, I would never in a million years say that 5'7" and 130 something pounds is not a good weight. I would never say that. But as a lot of you thankfully understand, based on comments I've heard on other videos where I've talked about my situation, a lot of you have understood and been sympathetic that when you are used to being a certain weight, you become uncomfortable at a higher weight, and you just, no matter what weight you are, we as women, I feel like when we gain weight, we just feel bad about ourselves. We often begin to feel more self-conscious and frustrated. When my weight started creeping up into the mid 130s and the high 130s, and then it hit about 140, 145-ish, I think was my highest, I started feeling like I really have to do something. I have to take control of this before it does continue to creep up. My mother had told me once that her weight went up every decade. When she was in her 40s, she weighed 140. When she was in her 50s, she weighed 150. When she got into her 60s, she weighed in her 160s. And I thought, no, I don't. Again, not that that's bad. I just felt like I don't want that to happen to me. I won't feel comfortable in my own body if that happens. And I know you shouldn't really focus on a number on the scale. I am aware of that. You should focus on how you feel and how your clothes are fitting. So I tried to do that. And so I started intermittent fasting. Now I'm going back to the beginning of this video when I said there were two things I wanted to address. One, that I wasn't a dietitian, and the other was something that I can't remember. That's another thing that comes with age, memory loss. So about 3 years ago, I decided to start intermittent fasting, and it definitely worked. I do have an intermittent fasting playlist that I will link in the description box that shows you the video that I did after 1 month, the video that I did after, I think, 6 months, 18 months. I don't think I have one between 18 months and now. But one thing you will see that's different in all of those videos is the size of my lips. I did have lip injections when I did those first couple of videos, and whew, the comments were brutal. Okay, so back to intermittent fasting. It's been 3 years. It is a lifestyle for me now. Oh, that's the second thing I wanted to say, that intermittent fasting is not a diet. It is a lifestyle. I hate diets. Prior to beginning intermittent fasting, I did the Beachbody 21-day fix. I tried the South Beach diet. I have tried so many different diets. But after doing my research on intermittent fasting, I felt like that would be the most doable and sustainable way for me to get control of my weight. So when I first started intermittent fasting, I was very strict about it. I decided to do the 16-8 program. There are a bunch of different programs, and I will link those in the description box, or different ways of intermittent fasting. You can do the 16-8 where you fast for 16 hours and then you have a eating window of 8 hours. Mine is either from 11 to 7 or noon to 8, depending on when I stop eating the prior night. And as I was saying, I was pretty strict about it in the beginning. And after the first month, I did drop 15 pounds. Like that. And I have to tell you that it was not easy as far as just the whole not eating thing. I would get very, very hungry because I was always used to eating breakfast. I had always been told that breakfast was the most important meal of the day, that it got your metabolism going for the day, and it was just really important to eat breakfast. So my body was used to having breakfast every day, and now waiting until noon to have my first meal, I was very, very hungry. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm still hungry. It's a little afternoon right now, and I, for some reason, decided I was gonna start filming before eating. And I probably shouldn't have, because my stomach is going to be making a lot of noises that usually doesn't pick up on camera, so that's good. If I'm not busy, if I don't keep myself busy with filming and editing or running errands, I do get very hungry. If I don't have a lot to do, which is very rare, but if I don't have a lot to do in the morning, I do get hungry. After the first month when I lost the 15 pounds, I decided I was going to just see how much I could get away with. And by how much I can get away with, I mean, I would sneak in a tablespoon of creamer in my coffee. Or on the weekends, I wouldn't intermittent fast at all. I would just maybe not eat for 10 hours versus 16. So I noticed that the weight went up a little bit, but I was still at a weight that I was fine with. I was happy with that. And I am proud to say that since then, I have maintained that weight. I am 5'7". I believe 3 years ago when I started, I was at 145, and then I went down to around 130. I fluctuated between 128 and 132. And now I fluctuate between like 132 and 135. Which I'm fine with, especially having not worked out at Orange Theory, which is where I had been going for almost 2 years, which if you're not familiar with Orange Theory, it's a gym, it's a whole workout system. I'm not gonna go into details on Orange Theory. I'll link it for you in the description box. I'm sure a lot of you know what it is. And when they closed down this past March because of the pandemic, I thought, I'm just gonna work out at home. I'm gonna put on some YouTube videos and I'll work out. And yeah, that didn't really happen. I would work out maybe once or twice a week, and I would do the shortest videos I can find, you know, something that was 20 or 30 minutes, but I felt like at least I was doing something. And at the time, back in March and April, I live in Las Vegas, for those of you that don't know, the weather was good enough where I could walk outside. My husband and I would go for long walks, but when May rolled around in June and July and the temperatures are in the hundreds and it's already 95 degrees at 8 o'clock in the morning, we just weren't walking. We just weren't going for walks anymore. And Orange Theory did open back up with a bunch of new, restrictions and rules. I think it was in June, but I just still didn't really feel comfortable, and I still don't. They are open now. They have cut their class sizes, I believe, by 50%. There's a lot of other new protocols where you used to be able to wait in the lobby before your class, and now you have to wait outside, and they take your temperature when you walk in, and all of those things. I just, as of now, do not feel comfortable. So I have not worked out on a consistent basis since March. So my weight really hasn't fluctuated that much, but I do notice that, my muscle tone is diminishing. Those gains that I had made from working out 3 to 4 times per week for almost 2 years, they're kind of disappearing. So I'm really bummed about that. I do need to do a lot better with working out. So I went into filming this video thinking it was going to be just a very short update, but clearly it's not. That's where I am with intermittent fasting. I'm still doing it. I am not doing intermittent fasting and working out right now. I still do noon to 8 as my eating window. I still pretty much eat the same things that I talked about in my prior videos. I will have scrambled egg whites and spinach with my coffee. Actually, when I wake up, I do have my coffee. I still do my 1 measured out tablespoon of creamer, 35 calories. I just cannot drink black coffee. And as I said in one of my other videos, I have to live. I can't and I won't deprive myself of everything that I love. I still eat all of my favorite foods, pizza, pasta, but in moderation. I really have tried to increase my water intake. I purchased one of those jugs from Amazon that I can link in the description box that has the times. I should have brought it in here. It has the times like 7 a.m., 9 a.m., 11 a.m. with lines, and it kind of shows you where you are at for the day. And I do try to go through that full jug every single day. And just to share some of the snacks that I eat during the day, I have discovered a love for the Everything Bagel seasoning. If you do not own this, go get some right now. One of my favorite snacks is to take celery, put a little bit of cream cheese in the celery, and then top it with the Everything But the Bagel seasoning. It is so good. You're getting more water from eating the celery, and I swear that seasoning makes everything taste better. I cannot say enough good things about my air fryer. We make all kinds of vegetables in the air fryer. We make the most amazing salmon that is just so easy. All I do is I put a little bit of olive oil all over the salmon, and then I top it with salt, pepper, and garlic pepper. If I remember to thaw the fish in advance, it takes about 8 to 10 minutes in the air fryer. And if I've forgotten to thaw it, it takes obviously longer, but it's so good. And that has really helped us to eat more healthy, just having that air fryer, because we both work. My husband and I both now work from home, and sometimes it'll be, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and our kids will say, hey, what's for dinner? Around noon. So after I eat lunch around noon, which again is usually some sort of omelet, or I will have a turkey burger with no bun, or I'll have a salad, or maybe I'll make the salmon for lunch. In the afternoon, I'll often have the celery that I was mentioning, the celery snack. And then nearly every day, I do have a Premier protein shake. But what I do, and this is not going to be for everyone because some people can't drink coffee after noon without, having it keep them up all night. But I'm not one of those people. So around 3 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock, that's usually when I start to get really sluggish. So I will take my protein drink and I will add a shot of espresso. I use my Nespresso, and I will put the combo over ice, and I will drink that while at my desk, usually editing a video, responding to emails, and I find that that satiates my hunger, and it also gives me a little bit of extra energy. So we buy the protein drinks in bulk at Costco. They really do have the best price on them. And I'm not sure if I mentioned this yet, but I love the caramel. And then for dinner, we usually have either chicken or fish. My kids, however, are teenagers. They're teenage boys. So they like to have pizza, pasta, macaroni and cheese. They will usually eat what we eat, but if for some reason they do not want to eat what I've made for my husband and I to eat for dinner, We just tell them to make something on their own then. All right, that's the update. I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave them for me in the comments. And if you're new to my channel, I would love for you to check out some of my other content, my beauty and fashion content, and subscribe to my channel if you are so inclined. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter under the same username. It's all Risa Does Makeup. Thank you all so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.